Okay, shalom everyone. I'm going to do a test or reiteration. I don't even know if I spelled it right, but I gotta raise up this mic somehow so I don't bend down all the time. Anyway, I'll figure it out, I guess. Oh yeah, I wanted to do a quality check here, signal check, see if everything is good, and to go over some of the points that I've been making and with illustrations so that people can actually see what's going on with the DNA, because the DNA is the evidence of creation. Mitochondrial DNA, which is the maternal line DNA, the Y chromosome DNA, which is the paternal line DNA, and of course, the autosomal is everything in between, which is also beneficial for finding your ancestors by way of your cousins, but that's another rabbit hole. Anyway, let's get started with the screen share, maybe. Okay. There you go with the entire screen. There's no sound here. Even if there was, I'd use my microphone. But anyway, let's see what the evidence is. Let's go to the evidence. Well, let me go ahead and make an adjustment here. Full screen. So, here we go with the evidence. Should be clear. This illustration here. This, of course, is the Y haplogroups of the world. And we have here, for example, UZ, or UZ, is Uzbekistan. We have PE, which is Persian or Iranian. Notice the number of Y chromosomes that are represented in the percentages here. And we have the GE, which is Georgia, Armenia. There we go. And the KT is the Kazan Tater. I'm guessing it's the Kazakhs. Oh, the KZ is Kazakhstan. Where's KZ? KZ is the same here. Kazakhstan. Kazan Tater. The GE is the Georgia, Armenia. But anyways, you'll notice here in this area, UG, for example, Uyghurs. Is that Uyghurs? There's a large representation of the different Y haplogroups. Of course, these are supposed to represent indigenous people and not necessarily the populations today, just to be clear. But if we were out of Africa, don't you think everybody would be represented here? Now, this is Ethiopia right here, this ET. The Ethiopian population is supposed to have a wide diversity, or it's supposed to be Of course, when they're talking about, they're not necessarily talking about the Y chromosome. They're talking about some other kind of diversity. But it just so happens that this area was an area early on that had a lot of people going back and forth. But even so, not too many people stayed. Let me see other than the let me see the E3B, the EX3B, and the B. There is the what is this? The A. Well, this is still all African. Then we have the J. So basically, there's only the B. Of course, not the C, not the D. You have the B and the two E's, the EX, E3B, and the E3B, whatever that's supposed to be different. That's not a lot of diversity. Now, how can you say we're out of Africa when that doesn't even the only one from outside is the J population, which is the Jewish people that early on migrated or had relationship here with Ethiopia. It's even written in the Bible. Okay, so you have the same thing here. The J's here. And then you have the A. Is this the A? What's S in anyways? What's S in? S in. Where's S in? That's it, Sudan. So Sudan has got a big A population. I didn't know they had a big A population in Sudan. Anyways, this is a little bit different than the next graph or map that I'm going to illustrate, show. But anyways, that's not a lot of diversity either. There's a little more of the JY chromosome, which is the either Jews or Arabs, which they're both from Abraham anyway. That's why they're both J. Jews and Arabs. Of course, there's not just J. There's differentiate. There's different categories of J, but it's just showing just J right here. And the only exception, of course, in Africa here, which is notable, is this RY chromosome, which probably is the same thing as this RY chromosome up here, the R in Europe, because it's basically a European that went into Africa. Probably early on. It's probably one of the Japhethites that of the family that went north, which is the R and the Q. Where's the Q? Q's the purple. Okay. And what's this color here? This color is the... Oh, that's the C. We'll get into the C. Okay, so we have the Q. This purple color is the Q. And the R are basically the same thing. Then these color codes are really bad because then you have the I is kind of a light purple color. The I is a Semitic, not a Japhethite, and not an African, not a African family tree. And the O is a Japhethite too, OPQR. OPQR, and then there's one S over here somewhere, which is not shown up here too well. But anyways, the the point being the OPQRs, there'll be this blue color, this whatever color, violet color, and this red color in Europe, plus this R down here in Africa, all belong to the same family tree. They're all Japhethites. The I is not a Japhethite. The G is not a Japhethite, which is a G here. I mean, of that's GE. But anyways, the G, where's the G? This color, yeah, this color G right here, and this color here, that's not Japhethite. So this I and this G here, they're intruders into Europe. They're not quote unquote Europeans, or they're not Japhethites that went north. They're intruders, which we can get into as well. And of course, this J, the J is descendants of Abraham. So there's all this green color here, this light green or whatever green color here. These are all male descendants of Abraham, whether Jewish or Arab or whatever. They're all male descendants of Abraham. And the case could be made that the I's are too. Because the I's and the J's are closely associated, as we can also see. So that the I's are basically from the same family tree as the J's. It's a GHIJ, and the I's and the J's are pretty closely associated, as we can see, as we will see, or will be able to see. So we have this two yellows, not to be confused here. See, this is very confusing. You have three yellows here. You got this yellow here, which is a Hamite, this yellow here, which is a Hamite not in Africa, and this yellow here, which is an R, which is a Japhethite. So this R here, this yellow here is R too. So not only is this red R, this yellow is R. All this yellow in Europe, that's all R, except for this yellow. And this yellow, this lime green yellow here in Tibet and Japan, that's the D, which belongs to the African family tree that is not in Africa to speak of. Of course, we'll see that it went to Africa later on, but the C never did go back to Africa. See this C here in Australia, the Pacific Islands, these islands all up in Mongolia and Siberia and everything. This orange color here, whatever red-orange color, is a CY chromosome, which is African family tree, not in Africa. Never went to Africa, ever. Which we can also see. Started here, Uzbekistan. And if we look at some sources, we can see that it all started in, this is the Black Sea. So it started in Mesopotamian area. The CY chromosome began in the Mesopotamian area, never went west to Africa, only went east. And it's found all out throughout the entire world, even the New World, into the Americas. Pacific Islands, as I said, Australia. It's all the CY chromosome. Now, how did that happen? Starts here in the center of cradle civilization, right here, and goes eastward, never went to Africa. There is a history of one of the sons of Cush, who is this person here, the Cushites, as we'll see. His name was Nimrod. He was the son of Cush. He had a kingdom in Mesopotamia, in the land of Shinar. He basically was the king of the world back in the day. until Esau, one of the descendants of Abraham, killed him, according to one source. And then all his kingdoms fell. So Nimrod, all his kingdoms fell, and it ends with the house of Nimrod was subdued. So they were subdued for a considerable amount of time. It actually says that. So the CY chromosome here began in Mesopotamia. Nimrod was killed, but his Y chromosome wasn't, of course. The house of Nimrod, they were subjugated for a period of time, but then, as we can see, they spread out all over the world, rest of the world to the east. And a similar thing happened with the DY chromosome, except we don't know who he is yet, or I don't know who he is yet. Could be one of the brothers, could be a brother of Nimrod, who also went east and not into Africa. But at a later point, since they're in these islands areas in the Andamanese, because the DY chromosome is in a place called an island where there's Andamanese. I guess it's Andamanese Island. Of course, since they're in this area, some of them made it back into Africa. So there is, at a later date, a return, you know, a DY chromosome going to Africa, but not early on, as we could see from one of the sources. But we have here significant populations being the direct ancestor of the DY chromosome, which is probably a brother of the CY chromosome, if not one of his sons or something. So the influence of that Y chromosome is seen in Tibet, up through this area here, all the way to Japan. So that a third of the population of Japan is a direct descendant of Kush in Africa, because the C and the DY chromosomes they connect back to this family tree, the Kush family tree, as we could also see in some of the genetic distance charts, the Thousands Genomes Project. Let's go ahead over to this other map here. Back this up. As we can see here, maybe you can see, we have the A, B, C, and the D. These are people who belong to the genetic line of the African family tree, except for the fact, as I said before, the C and the D, the Andamanese, are not found in Africa. They went east instead of west. The D here in Tibet, Burma, as you can see there, all the way the D Anu Japanese Jomon. So all this area here, they're descendants of the DY chromosome, which belongs to the family tree, the Kushite. See the Kushite here? So basically, we have a historical record of people getting off the ark, and as I said, Nimrod is the son of Cush, who is the son of Ham, who was on the ark. Ham was on the ark. Ham had 4 sons. One of the names of one of the sons was Put. He's the father of the Phoenicians, which are today's Berbers. Notice the E3B2. Ham is the father of Mitzrayim, who is the father of the Egyptians, which is E3B1. Ham is also the father of Cush, who is the father of Nimrod, who never went to Africa, and he is E3B1. Okay, Ham is also father of another son called Canaan, who was constantly fighting with Israel, the Canaanites, which we will be able to see over there where they might be real quick. Might be this E1B. E1B in the Jewish population, which is probably descendants of Canaan, I'm guessing, but it's a possibility. Either that or it's somebody else who associated with Israel from Africa in the Jewish population. But I'm thinking it's probably Canaan. Notice again you have the J2 and the J1. The J1s are, I guess, mostly Arabic, but not necessarily all of them. The J2s are the Jewish people. Of course, they're all up in this area here, more in this area here, up in this area here. So you have the J1s and the J2s. You also have the I1s and the I2s. Now this is important to remember for what we're going to see on these other with the other information. Notice again the G and the H, which is Dravidian, and the I and the J are Semitic. They're all Semitic people, descendants of Shem. That's why they're called Semitic, is because they're Shemites. So they're Shemitic or Semitic. Okay. So it's really not complicated. It matches up really well with known human history. Notice again, Ham had 4 sons. Put, the father of the Phoenicians, Mitzrayim, the father of the Egyptians, Cush, the fathers of who? The Cushites, right? And Canaan, the father of the Canaanites that were rivals of Israel. Okay, so in Africa, I was trying to explain this before, the Y DNA Adam, the reason why they're designating this guy here. They found somebody with a genetic distance or a family tree or a Y chromosome that has a lot of mutations. So by having a lot of mutations, they're guessing that this is the longest or the most direct line somehow to the to Adam, to the first human. But it doesn't make any sense because we're all from Adam, and we should all be the same age regardless of the numbers of mutations. But they're looking at the numbers of mutations and trying to say that because there's more mutations, it's a family tree that goes farther back into time. And that doesn't make sense anyway. But anyways, they found this guy A. They designated him Adam. Then they found a guy A0. They said, "Oh, this guy's got to be the most direct line to Adam." Then they found a guy A00, and they designated him as the Y DNA Adam. But then, if I'm not mistaken, they found an A000, and they're trying to say that he's the one with the most mutations in his Y chromosome, which is supposed to mean that he is somehow the most original African or whatever they're trying to say from that, which makes no sense at all because everybody's mutating. Obviously, this guy has a lot of mutation. He's on the tip of branched, the tip of the the tree, the branch of the family tree, and nobody's descended from him. So why force fit try to say he's Adam and everybody's descended from him or his line? Well, it turns out it's not the case. That the number of mutations are just because there's a faster reproductive rate and probably a harsh environment also contributes. Malnutrition, things like that also contribute to genetic mutations in the Y chromosome. So he has more genetic mutations in his Y chromosome, or more changes to his Y chromosome, whether, you know, copies or whatever. So as we can see here, the C is all the way into Australia, all throughout the Austronesians, Austronesia, Micronesia, Melanesia, and Polynesia. CY chromosome, all the way through, all over here. All over here, all over there, all through Mongolia, all up through here, all the way over to the New World. C3Y chromosome, C3b, the Nadeni have the Y chromosome. Notice the Q and the R over here too. That's another story. The Q and R are really the same thing, except that the R is European, the Q is the Eastern Japhethite. But they're both Japhethites, they're both closely related, except the R identifies this Y chromosome as have come from Europe instead of from the East over here, or the West, whichever way you're looking at it. So, and it's very interesting because the C3 made its way all the way into the northern tip of South America. C3Y chromosome. Direct paternal descendants of Cush, the son of Ham, that got off the ark. So everybody's present and accounted for here. Everybody's somebody, and everybody has their own place in their own family tree. Oh, by the way, while I'm at it, this is me right here. This is exactly what I am. I'm an I1 M253. That's my Y chromosome. I recommend, if you're not scared or afraid or have the resources, to get your Y chromosome, to find out what your Y chromosome is, because then you'll realize that you're somebody. If you think that maybe you're not, or you're not sure if you are somebody, as is my case, you know anything about me. But anyway, I found out that I do belong somewhere to the human family tree. It's a long story. These Nordic people, Germanic people, or it says Germanic here, but these Nordic people with the I, which is probably probably from the lost tribes of Israel to begin with, because they're Semitic in Europe, and the lost tribes of Israel went north into Europe. So you have the I-2 and the I-1, but the I-1 are the Vikings and the Anglo-Saxons that invaded Britain. See this light blue stretching over here into Scotland? Up here, Britain, Scotland, Anglo-Saxon. For my fathers, I can trace them back the paternal line all the way to Scotland, this area here in Scotland. And that's where I picked up this IY chromosome, probably from the Vikings or the Anglo-Saxons that invaded England. That's who I am. So, I mean, that's just the paternal line. Of course, there's all kinds of autosomal and everything else, which is about 65% Irish or Scotch Irish, and the other 20% is really German, but they haven't figured that out yet so much, which is hard to tell the difference between German and English for some reason. I don't know why, genetically. But when I talked to my dad, asked who he was or where, who the population was, he said basically German, which is true, even though he's not doesn't have a German paternal name, because of course I can see the names of my ancestors. They're German names. Some of them, about 20% of them, I guess. So everybody can find out they're somebody. Again, you have the Andamanese D here, the D, which is supposed to be African that never went to Africa. Well, the D did a later D, but the C never did go back to Africa, which is what I can show in this chart here. What's this? What's going on here? Okay, here we go. This is an interesting chart, interesting map. Notice the color scheme. You have, of course, the African orange, the Middle East, whatever color that is, blob color, and then you have the blue colors, the Asian, South Asian blue colors, and the North Asian gray color, and the Australian color. Okay. So here we go. This is what I was talking about with the A, the AY chromosome. Notice the color. The color code is African, right? From Africa, orange color code, AY chromosome. Notice you have, here you go. Notice you got the A, the B, and the E. Where's the C and the D? There's the D. Oh, went back much later date. Okay, much later date it appeared in Africa. Okay, right there. That's the evidence right there, D. They call it D0. D0. Notice this one. This one is A00, and look how long the line is up here of mutations. In other words, it's been in Africa for all that, through all those mutations, right? Notice the D. This D00 only has a few mutations in Africa, which makes no sense at all. But anyway, so this is what they're trying to say. You can see it clearly here. You got the BT line, the CT line, the DE, the CF. Okay, so this is what they're trying to say. They're trying to say that the C moved out of Africa, even though there's no evidence of C ever having been in Africa, and according to history, never was in Africa. But they're trying to say that the C, which branches off, of course, from the E, here's the E, and the C. So it belongs to the same family tree as the E. And of course, if you remember what I was saying about the back here with the Phoenicians, Egyptians, and Cushites, they're all E3Bs. E3Bs. Every one of them is E3B, except this is E3B2. And they're the original ancestors. Now, this is very important. Ham had four sons: Canaan, which is here, Cush, who is here, Mitzrayim, which is here, and Put, which is here, the father of the Phoenicians. These are the original ancestors of sons of Ham. So these are the older, more that these branches are the root of the tree or the base of the tree. These three here are the base of the tree. In other words, the base of the tree branches three different ways: this way, this way, this way, and the fourth way is Canaan. This is the base of the tree, right? Not A00. Because these are the sons, the four sons that came of the person that came off the ark. Ham lived in the pre-flood world. He was on the ark. He survived the ark. He had these four sons that developed these four civilizations. Right? So these people here are the base of the tree. So we got to get that straight. So when you go to look at this, it's not the one with the most mutations, which is A. They found this guy with a lot of mutations. They said, oh, he's got to be the most original trunk of the tree. No. He's just the one with the most mutations in his Y chromosome, which has nothing to do with the age because everybody's the same age. Everybody, every Y chromosome is the exact same age. So this genetic distance here means nothing. This number of mutations here means absolutely nothing other than it mutated more because of more procreation, more generations, and a harder lifestyle, more damage to the Y chromosome. So, but they're trying to say, of course, C does come from E. See? C does come from E. Let's show that. See, this is E. E. Okay, C does come from E. Well, they're trying to say that they both came from B, which we already know, which I already proved is not true. They're trying to say that E and C came from B, which is not true. It's the other way around. Because the E is the root of the tree, the base of the tree. I just showed it. Remember? I just showed you that E3 is the base of the tree. Or in the case of Jewish population, E1b, which might be Canaan. But E3, E is the base of the tree. So we got that straight. E is the base of the tree, not A and not B. A and B just have more mutations. It means nothing as far as being who came from who. So we did not come from, and it's going to show that too. We did not come from A. We did not come from B. And we did not come from C, which is what they're trying to say, that the GHIJ, the GHIJ, they're trying to say came from C. That's what they're trying to say. Of course, I can show charts and that show the contrary to that. So we already know E is the base of the tree. A and B came from E, as well as C and D. We know C and D came from E because C is Nimrod's Y chromosome, and Nimrod is the son of Cush, which is E. Cush is E, Nimrod is C. All these C's are Nimrod. Because who else could it be? Nimrod was the only king early on in Mesopotamia. Who was the son of Cush? The E. So who else could it be? Nimrod's the one that had the kingdom in the land of Shinar from the very beginning. He was king of the whole world until Esau reportedly killed him along with his two guards, and then he had to run for his life, and then he was exhausted, and then he traded his birthright because he just wanted a bowl of food because he was about to die. So he traded away his birthright. Jacob seized on the opportunity, got the birthright, and that's what happened. Now you know the rest of the story. So you can see right here very clearly that D's, see this genetic distance here? D is all over this area here. The blue, and notice the amount here. It's only 3. The ones that made it to Africa, the D's that made it to Africa are only like 3 in size. Whatever size that is. This is the percentage of the population, but it's only 3 whatchamacallits or whatever of the D, and it's only in recent times that they were found in Africa. They haven't been in Africa for that long, apparently. But anyways, you have all these D's all over the Pacific Islands, or basically D's you have all over this area here, all the way into Japan. And it shows that Tibet and Japan would be the dark blue, and you have D, the dark blue, dark blue, dark blue. So this would be the D's here, and then the D1. And then you got this here. These are probably the Andamanese, this lighter blue, which is this area. Yeah, right there is Andamanese Islands right there. So it would be this area here. And of course, they're throughout this area somewhat. Along with the autosomal influence too, because the autosomal influence this area too, because you'll see the African features in the Polynesians because of the DY chromosome and the CY chromosome. You'll see the influence, the autosomal influence in these populations here, which are the Austronesians, Micronesians, Melanesians, and Polynesians. And the people all through, even the Philippines. You have the Negrito in the Philippines and other places too. And of course, here's the Andamanese Islands here. The DNA doesn't lie. Tells a true story. And this is what we can see. Now, what else can we see from this true story, this information here? Well, before I look at this, I'm going to show the Jewish population in the Americas. Before I do that, let me just show you a little bit of things here. Jewish populations. This is what the Jewish populations are made of. They're made of well, because they went to Europe, they got the European Y chromosome. Okay, that's we can count that out because that's from Europe. Okay. It's got the so we got the G and the J. The J1, the J2, the I, notice the I, and the T, and the Q. Okay. And the Canaanite, possibly Canaanite. Okay, let's see. So same thing here. We got the R's, the T, the Q, and the I. Notice the T and the I and the G and the J. Jewish populations, okay? This is what's in the Jewish population. You can count this out because this is what they got from Europe. You can maybe count this out because this is European as well. This is, of course, descendant of Cush, the African Cush. Ah, not Cush, Canaan, which is descendant of Ham, which is the son of Ham. Possibly, probably Canaan. If not, some other descendant of Cush. But it doesn't matter. So that's what the makeup of the Jewish people is. Notice the I, the T, the G, and the J. I don't know about the Q. Well, the Q is there anyway. But in Americas, what do we have in Americas? This is the color of America. There's some kind of murky brown or something. So, what do we have in America here? What do we have in the Americas? Okay, let's look down here. Let's look. Okay, the Q. We got 104 representations here in America. That's to be expected. Q is to be expected. R1 is the Europeans that went to America instead of from Asia. They're both Japhethites, but this is European, this is Asian. I mean, yeah. Okay, we got that from. They're both in America, right? What else do we have in America? Let's see. What do we have in America here? Oh, what's the? Oh, a T. We got the T in America. Look at that. Look at that. The J2. We got the J2 in America. The J1 in America. What's this? The I1, the I2 in America. My Y chromosome is in America. I1 and the I2. Look at that. Oh, what else? Oh, we got the G too. Look at the G. The G, that's in America. So these rumors and stories of Hebrew writings being found in America, well, probably true, considering that there is a representation of what would be the makeup of the Jewish people, which is the T, the J1, J2, I1, I2, and the G. You have Israel and America. So, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? That is very interesting. Those Y chromosomes are all found in America. So that's very interesting too. So what else can we see here? Let me see. Oh, I got some people probably bored by now. We got Daniel. Poor Nimrod. His name means dumb. Yeah. I1, I2 are related. I do not have a Y chromosome. Cannot track myself. I can hear you. Hi, Jungle. Hi, Doki. Lena Powell and Daniel Isbiskis. Um, we're not all bored to death. Well, I'm apparently my live streams are doing okay. Let's see. I just wanted to find the genome, the Simmons Genome Project, which further shows what I was trying to say. So I'll go here and put Simmons. If people want to know the source, Simmons Thousands Genome Project. And we'll go to the images. And apparently it's rough trying to find what I'm looking for. Okay. Let me try to change it up a little bit. So Y chromosome. There it is. Yeah, I have put Y chromosome in there. We got two of them here. We got the, this is the mitochondria. Whatever. We'll go here. Just to make sure. Because this shows the family trees being separate trees. It's very easy to see that they're separate trees. Creation.com. There it goes. There it goes. Okay. I was going to say it taking too long. Okay, so it's very clear here. Now remember what I said here with the base of the tree. The base of the tree is E3, right? E3, E3. Everything else came from the base, E3, and possibly this E1B or whatever it is. But 1A, anyway. But notice very carefully, this is E3, right? E3, E3, E3. This is the base of the tree. The only trunk to the base of this tree is Ham, who got off the ark, who lived before the global flood. Okay, so this is the very base of the tree, right here. E3, E3, E3. Okay, now let's go back to this. What do we see here? We see the C, the D, the E2, the E1, E1, B, A. Where's the E3? E3 is the base of the tree. The base of the tree is E3. All these, and there's the E2 right there. E2 come off there. Okay. Anyway, because these Z1s, that's like West Africa. The A and the B, that's like West Africa. Or maybe closer to East Africa, but that's because they come from the base, which is E3. Where's E3? E3 is not even on this tree. But you will notice that the tree consists of A, B, C, D, and E. This is all one tree, clearly one tree. Here's the other tree. G, H, or F, G, H, I, and J. This is the other tree. Now notice this base, these Semitics here, the Dravidians, Dravidian, the Gypsies and Dravidians, they're they're separate from this branch here, which is the Abrahamic branch right here. This is J1, J2 is the Abrahamic branch. The I1, I2 branch come off of this tree right here, the J1, J2 tree. They're connected to this tree. Probably descendants of Abraham too. Because Abraham is 10 generations from Noah. He's the son of Shem, who got off the ark. So that's one tree there, because you notice how the proximity here, there's some distance between this tree and this tree. There's distance here. You can see the distance. Not very well, but this is probably not a very accurate thing anyway. But so you can see all these are not Semitic trees. The Q and the R and the O, element O, P, Q, R, S, and the T is Japhethite. Notice the Jewish people have the T. The T is associated with the Jewish people. You don't really find the T a whole lot of other places other than with the Jewish people. Now, I probably might be able to find it somewhere else, but as far as I could tell, yeah, there's O, P, Q. Well, they got, sometimes they'll have the T in the supposed migrations, or the letters in the supposed migrations, but they're not actually, of course, they're not found in the middle of the ocean. Okay, R. There's a T right there. So you do have a T close to the H, which is Dravidian. And the G's are the no, this is the H. Oh, the H. There's the H. The H1A are the Gypsies, or the Romanis, I guess some people like to call them. They're H1A, and then there's the Dravidians are HM59. This is M82. So you can tell the difference between them. And these, I guess these G's are, I don't know what they are, but that's Semitic too. And you got the J1, J2, that's Semitic. The G1, that's Semitic. It would be good if they color coded these, all the Semitics a similar color, all the Japhethites a similar color, and all the Africans a similar color. It would make it a lot more legible. And you have a R2A here. That's interesting. So yeah. So yeah, you have the Europeans. These are all Europeans. The R is I mean, these are all Japhethites. The R, the N's, the Q's, the R's, the O's, the O's. They're all in the E, these R's, and yeah, the R's and Q. They're all Japhethites, as we can see on this genetic distance family tree here. All the R's, the Q's, and even the T, which is sometimes associated with the Jewish people, um, probably from early on. They're Japhethites. They belong to their own family tree. Okay, we also have the mtDNA, which is this one here. The mtDNA shows the same thing. The L's, L1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's kind of mixed up. That's its own family tree, the L's. Incidentally, oh, this is not the thing. The L's went to Africa and never went anywhere else. Okay. The L's are only found in Africa. This would be the maternal line family tree is only found in Africa. So if you think that the Africans left Africa and became Europeans or whatever by way of the CY chromosome, you would think that the L would have gone with them, but the L remained in Africa. So that's one of the inconsistencies there. So this is the way the maternal family tree works, the maternal haplogroups, mitochondrial DNA. It goes LMN. So here we go. LMN, which is very confusing because these letters have nothing to do with, that you got C, D, G. These belong to the M family tree, which is the Japhethite family tree. Apparently. I mean, it could be wrong. It could be switched around. Really doesn't matter. But the N's are possibly the Semitic family tree. The only reason why I'm saying is because the H, which also is permeated throughout Europe, the H is very strong in the Jewish family trees, which this is the Y chromosome. It's not going to show it. But the other ones, let me see if we can find it. What else we got here? Okay, anyway, here's H. This is a strange kind of pie chart. It shows Y chromosomes and mitochondrial DNA in the same pie chart, and Asian and Near Eastern and undersigned, which is really makes no sense at all. But anyway, I guess they're really trying to confuse people. But anyways, H makes up a big population, a big part of the population, the Jewish population. And K is European. J is European. J is Semitic. I is Semitic. H, V, O, and H is the mitochondrial DNA. And then there's the N, that's the mitochondrial DNA, apparently. And the T, that's mtDNA. That's Y chromosome. Anyway, they got it all mixed up here. It makes no sense at all. But anyway, that's about it. Let me see what's going on. Anything? Nothing too much. So I might as well go ahead. What else did I want to look at? Yeah, let's look up the mitochondrial. Okay. This one is harder to find a good one. What's this? Let's see what this is. Um, yeah. Actually, it's got nothing to do with what I'm looking for. Um, gotta put. Okay, so here we have it here. I hope it's not too froggy. I mean foggy. There we go. That's a good one. All right, we got a good map here. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Very good. Okay. Oops. Try this again. Okay, so this is the mtDNA now. This is the one that is very confusing. This is the maternal family tree as opposed to the paternal family tree, um, which is, of course, this one here. This is the maternal family tree, L, M, and N. Okay, so we can see this representation here throughout the world, as I said. In Africa exclusively, which is supposed to be where everybody came from, but not everybody's represented in Africa, which makes no sense at all. But we have the L1, which is this color here, the L2, which is this color here, the L3, which is this color here, and that's it. Well, there's there's more divisions of it, but because there's an L0 too apparently. But that's it. Notice the representation of the and diversity where the ark landed in this area here, in this whole area here. So if you want to look at the diversity, don't look here at the Ethiopian, don't look here to the PA is what? What's PA? PA is Palestine, Egypt. Okay. Which is two places at once. Egypt, of course, you would expect a lot of diversity there. But, of course, none of these L1, 2s, and 3s are anywhere in the rest of the world. Nowhere. Nowhere in the rest of the world, which is really, really strange if you want to think that people came from Africa. Because Egyptus founded Egypt with her son Mitzrayim. And that's why Egypt is named Egypt, because of Mitzrayim's mother, whose name was Egyptus, apparently. So, we have the same thing here. L1, 2, and 3. M is one group. N is the other group. So apparently, so far, M would be the Japhethites because of the fact that it's in this area. See this color here? That's this area here. See this color here? That's this area here. This color here is this area here. This is all associated with Japhethites, you know. This color here, where is it? Oh, right here. Again Japhethite, again Japhethite. This black color here, Japhethite. This Q color, which is here, I think that's Japhethite. So it's all seems to be Japhethite. This M. Now when you get into the ends, of course, then you're going into Europe. The ends, you got this purple here, light purple. Well, you got that here in Australia. Went all the way to Australia. For one thing, oh, there, and it's over here, over here, over here, over here. Okay. So that's more of the east. Somehow all the way to Australia. Yeah, this color and DNA doesn't lie too, so we can take it for fact. This violet color, violet or whatever color is where? Darker kind of violet color. It gets kind of confusing, but anyway. so, so everything after the M would be the Japhethite. Everything after the N would be the Semitic, the wife of Shem, which of course is the R. The N, because it goes into Europe with the H, the HV, the F. I mean, it could be either one, I guess. I don't know. The B over here. Hard to say. But it's its own family tree. The N is its own family tree. The M is its own family tree. And the L is its own family tree. As we see here, L is one tree, M is another tree, N is the other tree. Which, for some reason, the N population is pretty widely spread out. The M is smaller for some reason, and the L is exclusively in Africa for some reason. So we have a K. That's here, I guess. No, it's not the K. That's a Q. This is a Q. You have a W. Which might be this one up here. Got this A. Looks like, or is that the U? That's a U. And the A would be this one here. Light green T is in Europe, all the way up in Europe. This color U is all the way in Europe. P, the light blue, the H. See, the H is very common in Europe. The H is all throughout Europe, and the HV, the yellow. But the blue, the light blue, is all throughout Europe. Very common. That's what I am right there, H3G. Which is apparently Semitic. I'm guessing that because it's large, it's concentrated in Europe to a great extent. At least the Jewish H, or the H that's associated with the Jewish people, which went into Europe, is highly represented there. So that's why I'm saying or thinking that this would be the wife of Shem, the father of the Semitic population, which would be all these. For some reason, of course, the men always die in war, but some reason the maternal line proliferated, and there's a number of reasons for that. God said that Israel would be spread throughout the nations, and that would be the result of that. For one reason, yeah, and then of course there were other Semitic populations as well besides the Jewish people. So it's not only representative of the Jewish people, the Semitic population here. The H maybe, and some of the other ones, but not all the N's are even representative of the Jewish population. They're just Semitic in origin, or the wife of Shem. You know that I'm saying Semitic, but just because it would be the maternal line going back to the wife of Shem, which is neither here nor there. It makes not a whole lot of difference either way. But since the Jewish population is associated with the H, or largely associated with the H, and that's largely into Europe, which is where the lost tribes of Israel went. So maybe that's the case. I don't know. And it really doesn't matter either way. Could be these, but the fact that the lost tribes of Israel were dispersed throughout Europe and even the world. Of course, this could be another Semitic population anyway, because there was the Dravidians and the other ones. So it's not only the Abrahamic descendants; it's the entire Semitic population. But I think the clue is this H. It would be this H here in the HV, which would be, I guess the HV is the more original line, which is concentrated in the Middle East too, in the area of the Semitic population. Semitic population is this area here. So this HV is fairly indicative of that area. So I'll just go with that. Say the N would be the wife of Shem, and the M is the wife of Japheth, the maternal lines. So we have interesting thing in that a lot of the populations, that's fairly diverse in America, is the maternal line, whereas in the other one, the Y chromosome is not quite as diverse, as you can see. So that's interesting. But they're all concentrated in the Middle East area, or the cradle of civilization area, not Africa, as you can see. Because we all came from this area. Nimrod Nimrod stayed in this area. Now, let me see if this shows. See what this shows here. Oh yeah, the CY chromosome. It doesn't really say it. There was another map that I found that where the CY chromosome actually began in Mesopotamia, which is right here. You can't see it on the other maps, but this area right here is the land of Shinar. Right there is the Tower of Babel right there. This is the kingdom of Nimrod. Nimrod built the Tower of Babel. Nimrod was the king of the whole world. He basically controlled everything until Esau, who was a hunter, who was a rival of Nimrod, um, reportedly or apparently killed Nimrod, and then all his kingdoms were subdued, and the house of Nimrod spread east from that point to the rest of the world, the descendants of Nimrod, as you can see. Because what other what other person from the African family tree could this be other than Nimrod? It couldn't be anyone else. It can only be Nimrod. It can't be anyone else. And his descendants never went to Africa, ever. The Andamanese went all this way, the D2, the D2 here, the D2 here, and then the D2 here. The Jomons, the Paleo-Siberians, and the Aniu, the Japanese, the Jomons, and the Tibetans, all DY chromosomes. DY chromosome. Andamanese, that's what they are, Andamanese. Which belongs to the same tree. Belongs to the same family tree as Nimrod and Cush. Nimrod, who was the son of Cush. And of course, Cush is E. Egypt is E. The Phoenicians are E. The Canaanites are E. The base of the tree is E. So everything else came from E. And that's the way it should be represented with the DNA, but they don't know better, I guess. So that's about it. Just wanted to see how the stream would work. I mean, see how good is my connection here. There you go. The sea all the way into America, all the way to the northern tip of South America. The Warani is the CY chromosome. The Warani is the Guaycas, I think. I think they're the Guaycas. Those are the ones that killed the 5 missionaries. The Warranis. I didn't even see that. They killed the 5 missionaries, and then one of the people that killed the 5 missionaries killed the father of one of the people that was killed. Ended up baptizing the son of the man that he killed, and teaching the son of the man that he killed the ways of God. And the Waorani people had a murder rate of like 60-some%. They were the most savage tribe in the area, wild tribe, and of course, with the gospel reaching them, they left their evil ways, and the whole tribe didn't believe the gospel. It doesn't matter. The murder rate still dropped. the people still were able to live a better, more productive, happy life because of the gospel. And that's it. And I was raised in 3 degrees south of the equator, right about here somewhere, where the sun goes up. It's at noontime. It's always straight up overhead, all year round, and it comes up 6 in the morning, goes down 6 at night, all year round. Where regardless of how it crosses over, it's always straight up and down at noon. Always comes up 6 in the morning. Always sets 6 at night, all year round. That means the world is round, by the way. So, and if you want to get to Australia or New Zealand, all you have to do is fly south. Fly south from here, and you'll end up here. If you don't believe me, just book a flight on Qantas Airlines. Qantas. Anyway, still boring people. Let me see. You're right. Makes no sense. We see the same pattern in Americas and Africa. No diversity as far as mtDNA. JJ. It would also be interesting to see which people come from which son of Noah in terms of the world's history. Yeah, that's what I attempted to explain. Is that with the Y chromosome mtDNA, that we all came from this area of Mesopotamia right here. What am I doing? Okay, right here, the cradle of civilization right here is where because the Ark land in Turkey here somewhere, and then the cradle of civilization is here, and Cush, the father of Nimrod, settled here. Mitzrayim settled here. Put, the father of Phoenicians, settled here. Canaan, of course, was here fighting with Israel. And those are the four sons of Ham who got off the ark. It's Canaan, Put, Mitzrayim, and Cush. They're all right here. Nobody's disappeared. And the J1, the J2, I1, and I2 are the descendants of probably Abraham. See the J, the I and the J are closely associated. Middle Eastern. And of course, in ancient times, the Japhethites were in this area here. And they eventually just went north into these areas here. And of course, the Semitic population is the J, the G, the H, the T is Japhethite. That's not Semitic. So, and the Q is Japhethite, not Semitic. But that's about it. Yeah, I would like to know. Well, I don't know if I could ever find out who the father of the Andamanese Islands, probably one of the other 5 or 6 sons of Cush that he had. But the Bible identifies the Cushite as the dark-skinned people, as opposed to the Egyptians and Phoenicians and Canaanites and everybody else. But the only possible one who could be the progenitor of the CY chromosome would be Nimrod, who had a kingdom in the land of Shinar. He's the son of Cush, of course, and never went to Africa. You can see he never went to Africa, nor his descendants. Okay, that's about it. I guess I'm all worn out already. But that's these studies are interesting, and hope maybe my signal is doing much better. I don't know if it'll be like that all the time, but at least I know I can do a live stream. Okay, see if this works. Okay, that's about it. I finished boring people, I guess. But I find it very interesting. I find the study of people very interesting. I'm a missionary kid. I grew up in South America, and I was one of the minorities that were scoffed at and called names and everything, you know. And then so I just learned to you know find find interesting things about different people, and that's why I'm interested in DNA because it's the all the different people of the world, which is the basically the heart of the missionaries, you know, to reach all the people of the world. So God bless everyone. Thanks for your participation, Lena Powell and everybody else. Oh, we got Matt Bond. Is that Matt Bond? Um, yeah. And Daniel Isbisky, especially when one of the studies ancient Greece, Egypt, Troy, etc. Yeah, yeah. There's probably a lot more because I'm not even familiar with those areas of Greece and Turkey and places like that. So, all right. God bless everyone. Thanks again, and I hope everybody's blessed by the truth of God's word.